So Dyn is an cloud-based internet performance company, and we're helping to measure and control and optimize online infrastructure, specifically a lot of services delivered over the internet. And one of the really big problems that crops up is something called BGP hijacking. So people are making unauthorized use of other people's space. It turns out that in the IPv4 transfer market creates a lot of opportunities for that to get a lot worse. It's very natural that when you transfer something, you have to stop using it. But you've been using it perhaps for a long time. So networks that have been in use and suddenly are being used by somebody else that you've sold it to or transferred it to, there's just a lot of opportunities there for problems to happen. So we've gone through and pulled out some examples of some of the ways this can really go wrong. The most common is that people will take control of a piece of space that they've paid some good compensation for, and they won't go ahead and do the research. They won't, if you were buying a car, you'd want to know who owned the car before. You'd want to know if it had been involved in accidents, if it had been smashed and totaled and repaired. But people who buy address space have a little bit of that responsibility as well. You need to go in and find out how that space has been used on the internet, also what kind of DNS names, what kind of domains have been in that space. You never know what domains are still active and what might be bringing some strange traffic your way once you take control of this space. I think a lot of it is about transferring title cleanly, as it were. I think the brokers are getting better at this, figuring out that in order to transfer a clean title, you need to convey some of this information about the prior utilization of the space to the people who are going to consume it. I think that we're going to see an increase in people wanting this to actually be written into the terms and conditions of these agreements, because people really want to see that the space they're buying is available for them to use, that it's not on blacklists, that it's not all chopped up, that there aren't still people on the other side of the world using small fragments of it, creating these mysterious connectivity problems. It's interesting to be at APNIC. Usually I'm at the NOGs and the Apricot and so forth. But here, with looking at policy, I think that in order to have good policy, you really have to have good measurement. And that to manage a market, to really run a market effectively, everybody involved has to be really on their toes about doing good measurement. So these assets are being valued and sold and bought. And alongside all of that asset transfer, there really has to be some careful thinking about how to measure the utilization of space before it's transferred, after it's transferred, to make sure everybody gets what they paid for.